This comment came at the perfect time because I actually got my oil change today, and this person is talking about oil changes. So let's dive into it for a second. I made a video where I said when women are burnt out and exhausted from the mental load of managing a home, the cooking, the cleaning, the laundry, the kids, all of it, they don't want to have to tell their partner what to do or to give them a list. They want their partner to know and to participate. And this person here is saying, well, does she have to ask him to mow the lawn or fix the garage door, to get the oil changed in the cars, or any of these other seemingly trivial things that men do without a list? And this comes up so often when women come to their partners asking for more support within the home. Men will come to them and say, yeah, I hear you. You want help with the dishes or the laundry, but I'm doing other things. I contribute in other ways. I snow blow, I mow the lawn, I fix the roof when it's leaking, all of these things, right? And they talk about things that happen so infrequently, and it is so frustrating because for a lot of women, they're saying, sure, you mow the lawn once a week for an hour, but I am cooking dinner every single night, and those things are not comparable. And so I actually think it's important that we have conversations about the math here. And I'm going to talk about time and money as it relates to these tasks. And I'm going to use these examples here, okay? So this person brought up oil changes, and I actually got an oil change today, and I brought my own car to the mechanic and got the oil change. That cost me $80. So if I'm going to outsource my oil changes for the year, that's probably going to be around $300 or $350 a year, give or take. Now, if I do it at home, maybe an hour, hour and a half every time I do it, so say 6 hours a year. So I'm either doing my oil change and taking 6 hours a year or a little over $300 a year to do that. Now we can compare that to the laundry, for example. The laundry, typically most families are running like one load a day if you have kids. And we'll say that takes 30 minutes to swap, fold, put away, etc. I actually think it takes more time than that, but we're just gonna say 30 minutes for the sake of this conversation. That's over 182 hours a year. So 182 hours compared to 6 hours. That's for laundry compared to oil changes. Now the cost to outsource laundry is probably about $5,000, give or take, because it ranges in price, but I did $20 per load and that was 5 loads a week. Again, I don't think that's enough for a family with say 2 kids, for example. Now let's compare something else because we brought up multiple things. Let's compare the lawn, which is more expensive typically and takes more time, to dinner. So if we were gonna do the lawn, let's say it's 1 hour a week. We're gonna say 1 hour a week on average to mow the lawn. And we're gonna say that you do that for half the year because in most places you're not doing it year round. 26 weeks, 1 hour a week, and that's 26 hours for the year for mowing the lawn if you're doing it yourself. Now, if you wanna outsource it, let's say that costs $150, give or take. Obviously, depending on where you live, this is different, but we're gonna say $150. This comes in at just under $4,000 for the year to outsource the lawn. So it's $4,000 or 26 hours of your time. Now we're gonna compare this to meal planning and dinner specifically. We're not talking breakfast, we're not talking snacks, we're not talking school lunches. We're just talking about dinner, okay? And so if your partner's doing all of the meals, take this and multiply by a lot. But dinner on average takes about an hour to an hour and a half to cook for a family. And so we're gonna go with an hour, and you need dinner 365 days a year. So that's 365 hours for dinner compared to 26 for the lawn. And the cost to outsource dinner, we're gonna do a meal kit, like one of those ones that comes to your house with the ingredients but is not already cooked. If you were outsourcing and you were getting that, that's typically like $30-ish per meal. So if you're doing that every single day for the entire year, that's around $11,000 for the year. So now that's $11,000 compared to $4,000. And the reason I talk about this in terms of time and money is because it's quantifiable, right? Oftentimes women will say like, I'm drowning, and men will say, well, I'm doing a lot too. But what does a lot mean in this context, right? And so breaking it down into how much time we're spending on these tasks and how much time it would be to outsource them, I think is really helpful, especially because we don't really value women's unpaid labor. We don't put a dollar amount on cooking dinner or folding the laundry, when in reality to outsource all of that would be extremely expensive. And so when we're talking about these things, if we actually want to have a relationship that feels fair, it is important to look at our time. How much time are we spending on these tasks? How much effort is going into them? How much would it cost us to outsource these things? We need to talk about these things so we can ultimately get on the same page about what it looks like to be in a fair and equitable partnership where nobody is spending exponentially more time on domestic labor. And until we no longer have comments like this where men say that they fixed the garage door once 10 years ago, comparing that to the laundry, then we still have a way to go.